Welcome to Learn Kabuverdianu. In this video, we will give a brief history on the language spoken in the Cape Verde Islands, Kabuverdianu. The history of the Cape Verdean language began in the 15th century with the establishment of the Atlantic slave trade. Portuguese slave traders would take slaves from the west coast of Africa to the Cape Verde Islands, first beginning with the island of Santiago in what is now known as Cidade Velha, and eventually expanding to populate the other islands. Upon arrival, the slaves will undergo a process known as Latinization. This process involved learning basic Portuguese, baptism, and learning a trade. These slaves would speak various languages, such as Wolof, Mandinka, and Timne. This combination of an imposed language, Portuguese, with the mixture of other languages, created what is known as a pidgin language. Formed from a mixture of several languages, when speakers of different languages need to communicate. By the late 1500s, Cape Verde also became a trading post for such things as cotton, copper, salt, and wine. As the operations on the island continued to grow, demand for slave labor on the islands continued to increase. As the inhabitants of the island began to have children, the pidgin language used to communicate became their first language. According to linguists, it's at this point that a language makes the transition from pidgin and is classified as a Kriolu language. Throughout the centuries, the communities of former slaves, either runaway slaves or slaves freed by their dying masters in hopes of going to heaven, continued to increase. There also was a growing mixed population on the island. All three groups, while knowing Portuguese, the official language of the colonial power, would speak Kabuverdianu at home or amongst themselves. This new language would eventually become the first language of almost the entire population, as shown by a census taken in the early 1700s, with only 2.6% of the population classified as white or European. Although the language was not taught in schools and rarely written, these early developments in the history of Cape Verde are what led to the preservation of the Cape Verdean culture and language now known as Kabuverdianu. If you found this video helpful or informative, please give it a like and a share. And if you're interested in learning Kabuverdianu, please visit our website at www.learnkabuverdianu.com.